With your head in the sky like a big pizza pie, that's an idea. God, even I cringe at some of these intros. I'm jumping right into my film idea today, a romantic comedy that is presented in two different languages. So I'm really out of my depth because I only speak one language and I'm not the biggest fan of rom-coms. So take this whole video with a grain of salt. We begin with our male lead, an American businessman traveling to China to negotiate with company dealings. We start with him getting off the plane. He's stuck in line behind someone having luggage trouble. He's clearly impatient and arrogant, so tries to push past them or interject with a solution that no one likes. But he wants to get going. He's clearly an asshole. And of course he'll run into our leading lady. The simple solution would be she's his tour guide slash translator, but that kind of keeps it in the one storyline. Whereas this idea is two countries, two languages, two leads, two stories. So she's just another resident of the hotel or local area where he's staying, having her own life situations, looking after a family member or dealing with society in general, and he just crashes her life. Or maybe not that dramatic. And they have a meet cute. They run into each other, have the usual romantic comedy scenarios, a lot of miscommunications based on language and cultural differences, all translation jokes available to you, with the exception of subtitles. The possibility of halving your audience is there, but I think jokes can still land even if only half the audience is laughing or understand it. It just relies on a lot of visual storytelling. So the relationship continues. She starts teaching him her language. She might learn some of his, until the end where he finishes his business deal and has to go home. Some of the stuff she teaches him can help with the business deal to combine the storylines. Depending on the span of the story, like A Year in China or the sequel, she might go home with him and have to manage his family dynamic, depending on how racist his family is. But otherwise, it just ends back in the same airport. He's stuck in a similar situation as the start, only now he's much more understanding, a lot more patient. One ongoing storyline could be his interaction at a local convenience store. The owner's very racist against Americans, keeps refusing him, but stubborn American that he is, keeps going back and trying over and over again, until at the end I don't just want to say that the racist guy becomes less racist, because that's not realistic. He just stops fighting the manager and accepts that he can't get service, actually forced to learn through discrimination. I'm using America and China as examples. This concept can work in thousands of variations. Doesn't even have to include English. Except I'm using English, so you'll need to at least understand me to know what I'm saying. That's a fail, but you can know more than two languages. This particular version of the story came from me asking the question, where in the world could a white man be considered the marginalized group? And the answer I came up with was China. Like, that's not the best qualification for writing a story, but it's not entirely without merit, because my personal gateway into different cultures has been Japan, Korea, China. Pretty noticeable difference there. But I started with the main plot line to get it out there, and for the rest of this video I'm going to talk about myself. So anyone not interested in me can take the idea and leave now. Thanks for watching. This is my verbal declaration that me trying to discuss race and racism has evolved a few times in different forms. But through that process, I've come to the conclusion that one of the best things white people can do for global equality is shut up and move aside. Likewise, my story concepts have evolved. Even at the very start of studying storytelling in different cultures, straight away I made my own illustration. Tell me how far over the line I stepped. Although technically Australia is on the eastern side of the world, so do I get a pass for preferring that style? One of my earlier ideas was a movie called 500 Miles, starting with the Proclaimers song, about a businessman being kidnapped and having to walk 500 miles back home before a business deal goes south. And that was back before I knew how bad CEOs could be. Another concept was an off-Broadway stage show about a grumpy old man going through his daily life, but constantly moving focus onto the multicultural people around him having their own issues and personalities, telling their stories but still being interrupted by this grumpy old man who hates everything. But, you know, there's no shortage of that kind of story. And on a broader sense, I've even considered a career in being the hateable white guy. You know, the character that everyone's supposed to hate and make fun of, slap around through your movie and punish, as a way to kind of give cathartic relief to minorities. I shouldn't be even saying minorities, but once again, we have no shortage of that. Thanks for watching. This is my verbal declaration that I will not sue anyone for using the previous outline to create their own work, regardless of how much fame or money you might get from it. I'm definitely not the kind of artist who thinks I can own a concept. However, I would like to see what comes out of this video just for comparison and curiosity. If you do make something or find an existing piece that's similar, please let me know through Twitter or Facebook or email, and I'll happily check it out. And if you want to see the ideas I am working on for myself, please visit my Patreon page for samples and previews, no payment required. Happy creating, Bard Riley out. That's an idea. Yes, that'd be a good idea.